How strong is Mikey? One of the most downplayed characters I've ever scaled in my personal opinion, and I have no understanding why. Today I will be ending the non-stop downplaying of Mikey's strength. Manjiro Sano originally was a nice-spirited kid until he had a horrible accident after he was playing with his toy plane and fell down steps and hit his head, ultimately becoming hospitalized where he later died from his injuries. This made Shinichiro infuriated, to the point he repeatedly punched the wall, creating multiple craters. He wanted to save his brother since he never got to ever enjoy life being in a vegetative state at only 4 years old. Shinichiro killed the homeless man and stole his time travel powers after identifying he was the leaper from a group of drunk guys discussing it in a club. Mikey was raised inside his family dojo and a prodigy as early as 4, as he was showing kicking a closed top off of a bottle held by Shinichiro. Mikey has lifetime experience, is an elite fighter with mastery-level martial arts skills in many different styles including karate, taekwondo, kyokushin karate, boxing, mixed martial arts or MMA, capoeira, disarticulation, luxation and Chinese martial arts, drunken boxing. Age 4 is the earliest age we see Mikey training. At this age Mikey was already labeled a prodigy martial artist with mastery over his technique, able to kick caps off bottles after they have been screwed closed. This exercise is only done by expert kick users, who want to build accuracy, as shown by Kehaya from Baki series doing the same practice as an adult. Height is also a non-factor to Mikey. Mikey utilizes his kicks when facing taller opponents to limit the height difference. He has exceptional flexibility and acrobatics that he utilizes with his kicks, where no matter the size of his opponent it won't affect his performance. Mostly all of Mikey's enemies have been significantly taller than him, if you include Kiyomasa, Asane, Hanma, Teiju Shiba, and South, who is 7 foot 1 inches in height, yet Mikey easily best all of them. This is also around the age Mikey first started experiencing dark impulses after his mom died of an illness and Mikey began to suppress his emotions. Mikey became more brutal and more aggressive as he got older, and the dark impulses got stronger within him. It was first shown when Senju broke his toy plane but blames Harachiyo Sanzu, her older brother, for it. Mikey then attacks Sanzu and permanently lacerated his face with his bare hands, giving him his well-known scars around his mouth. This version of Mikey is street tier. He is stronger than no-name delinquents who could tank being run over by angry Kawata's motorcycle and Chifuyu, who fell from the second floor of his apartment building. He started picking fights with everyone, even multiple high school kids, and destroying entire gangs of 5,200 while still being so young. This is when his Invincible Mikey nickname came to life. Mikey became feared by delinquents of all ages, middles and high schools everywhere, and it caught the eye of Samiyama and his gang, a middle school group of delinquents who were originally Drayton's friends until they forced him to chase down Mikey, who was still in 4th grade, and bring him to them. Once he did, Mikey then caved Samiyama's face in with a flying kick, making the other delinquents feel intimidated, causing them to run away. This age Mikey is already stronger than Shinichiro, as he considers him weak. Even though Shinichiro pummeled a wall and dented a street pole when he punched it. When Mikey accidentally kicked Shinichiro in the face trying to jump and fly the toy plane he gave him, he knocked him out without trying, further proving this. He was an unstoppable force for majority of his life. Baji mentioned, Mikey was always a badass. He saved Baji's life by scaring delinquents who were trying to vandalize his moped, by kicking his own moped far across the street, destroying it in the process. When confronted by the leader of the delinquents, Mikey then kicked him, sending him flying several meters away, instantly knocking him out before he could even react to block Mikey's kick, making 12-year-old Mikey subsonic. By age 13 Mikey is already wall level. When Baji first met Chifuyu in middle school, he taught Baji how to write kanji, which made Baji view him as a friend. When Chifuyu was ambushed by a gang, Baji saved him by cratering a guy's head into the wall with a single punch. Baji was only 13 years old at this point, making Mikey the same age as him, but vastly superior. This version of Mikey should be comparable to characters like Ran Haydani, who caved one of the Max Maniac's leaders' face and resulting in him dying, or Mucho, who paralyzed a guy after judo slamming him onto concrete. Izana during this time brutally beat the guards at the prison he was in with the other members of the S62 generation. This feat is underrated because correctional officers are trained in close quarters combat before even graduating the academy, which proves the level of Mikey, who beat him while suppressed. Other adults in the Tokyo Revengers universe like Tenkuna Miya have destroyed walls just by throwing a dart at it, and Akemi Seodome destroyed a mirror with wooden wall support attached. And neither of these feats are on middle school Mikey's level. He has never lost a single fight in his life. Drake even admitted he feels sorry for Mikey, because he has never been defeated and doesn't know how to lose and has never seen the sky of defeat. He defeated Pachin, who was notorious at his school before meeting Mikey, defeated the self-proclaimed strongest elementary school 4th grader in just 2 kicks, and he kicked Kazuotora's father, almost breaking his back, mistaking him for a kidnapper. No matter the circumstances or situation, Mikey always finds a way out on top. A little after the formation of Toman, Kazuotora was ambushed by the underlings of the 9th Gen Black Dragon, Junepi and his reinforcements, led by Madarame Cheyenne. Once Mikey finds out about it, he finds the gang and annihilates them by himself, even though they are twice his age. At this point, word gets back to Madarame that a school kid took out an entire division by himself, which then gains the attention of Mikey's adoptive older brother, Izana Kurokawa, who was never around and has an ever-growing hatred for his younger brother, Mikey. Due to Shinichiro wanting to leave the Black Dragons for Mikey to lead, rather than Izana, who is 3 years older and ready to lead the gang now, which eventually happens as he took over the 8th gen, the gen before the 9th, which Toman formation was made. Madarame, who is also from S62 generation of ex-prisoners led by Izana, was then defeated by Mikey, resulting in Toman's first official gang victory. This is how Toman first became infamous around Tokyo. By age 15, Mikey is notoriously known throughout Japan as one of the most formidable fighters. His opponents have much respect for his prowess, as shown by Mobius trying to ambush them during their secret meeting, resulting in Mikey knocking out their leader Asane with a single kick, after he decimated Pachin using his boxing skills. Kazuotora, when released from jail, wanted revenge on Mikey after blaming his misfortunes on him, so he hired 2 expert fighters that he met in jail to ambush and jump him with help from Kazuotora. For reference on Kazuotora's strength, he was able to break the legs of his underlings after failing their task with his bare hands, also destroy Hansen, the mediator of the fight, in 2 hits, and should be slightly weaker than Baji, but stronger than Chifuyu based on narrative. Kazuotora led Mikey to a spot he picked out, which gave Mikey bad balance for his kicks to land full power, but Mikey still managed to destroy the entire front of a car, in his base form. Mikey made the experts who tried to fight him 2 versus 1 to start point out that attempting to jump him doesn't even make a slight difference, which forced them to use weapons. Kazuotora had Mikey held down and repeatedly struck his head with a metal pipe. This is the first time we get a peek at Mikey's dark impulse. Right after being hit repeatedly in the head, Mikey then used his head to headbutt Chom and free himself right after that, showcasing he had no damage from the pipe blows. Then lifts Chonbo using only his leg alone and could still gather enough speed to kick Kazuotora before he could attempt to block. Mikey later kills Kazuotora for causing Baji's death, and this is the first we actually see Mikey's dark impulse activate. Even after Kazuotora lured Mikey to a place where he would have bad balance, making his kicks half-powered, Mikey still destroyed the entire front of a car with a front kick. A slight punch or kick from Mikey sends opponents flying away at high speeds. He has a higher attack potency than Teju, who sent 6 people flying with the wind pressure from his punches, shown when Mikey tanked the hardest punch Teju threw after only using 50% against Takemichi and 70% against Mitsuya. Keep in mind, Takemichi said a 50% punch from Teju was on another level than anyone he's been hit by, and this included Baji, who cratered the wall and suppressed Mikey, destroyed the car hood and kicked Takemichi twice for trying to stop him from killing Kazuotora. This doubles the actual attack potency of Mikey if he took 100% of Teju's power, then knocked him out in 1 kick. By the time Mikey is 18 years old, he is one of the 3 deities or most powerful gangsters in Japan, with Senju and South being the other 2. Being a deity means you own multiple regions of Japan as well as business investments and other ventures. After the War of 3 Deities, it becomes Mikey's era after killing South and making Senju to concede in order to save Takemichi's life. Mikey now has more power than any Yakuza organization, meaning Mikey now has the cast of Desert Eagle and Shinjuku Swan as a part of his organization, as well as the police themselves, as noted by Naoto. Bonton is the #1 criminal Yakuza in the country. Any form of crime has something to do with Bonton. Shinjuku Swan takes place in Shinjuku, where Mobius and Brahman were also absorbed. Desert Eagle takes place in Roppongi, where the Haydani brothers controlled under Kanto Manji gang. Mikey was so untouchable they couldn't even identify him as the leader. This is what later turns into Bonton, which at some time absorbed Tenichi. I will be making a full breakdown for Tokyo Revengers universe since it isn't as well known as other universes. But the only reason Mikey was eventually found out was due to Takemichi figuring out the Hanafuda earring tattoo Mikey has was a dedication to the late Izana, also the hairstyle Mikey had. Many believe Kisaki was the person manipulating Mikey, but this was later revealed to be due to Mikey allowing it, knowing everything. Mikey used Kisaki to guide his darkness because he could not confide in the other Toman members due to them being nice people. In every bad future timeline, Kisaki is only in control when Mikey is in hiding from authorities, and in the Bonton timeline, Kisaki is dead and Toman becomes an even bigger organization. Kisaki is never manipulating Mikey's actual actions, he manipulates everything else in Toman under Mikey's approval. When Mikey felt Kisaki was useless, he kicked him out of Toman, resulting in Kisaki finding Izana to try to replicate his plans. Mikey only pushed his friends away to save their futures and not let his darkness turn them into what they weren't. Mikey cannot be directly or indirectly manipulated, so that narrative has to stop. His toughest opponent was South, who shared the same dark impulse, but the result was much of the same, except this time Mikey has no one to suppress his darkness, since this is right after Drayton dies, which made Mikey repeat the Kazuotori fight. He brutally beat South to death with his bare hands, then put Takemichi into a 3-day coma after he tried to stop him. Many are confused on what Mikey's dark impulse is and how it functions in a fight. I will give a breakdown just so there is no more confusion. Mikey's dark impulse is an awakening of power stemming from the curse bestowed on him by the homeless man after Shinichiro killed him for his power to travel back in time to save Mikey. The original creator of Mikey's dark impulse came from a different manga. 7 Kaneda is the original creator of the dark impulse, or bugs as they are called in Sekisui Imco. It is a hallucination to reality creation of the 5 senses that a user can manipulate. The 5 different types of bugs are sight, touch, taste, thought and hearing. Mikey has the most powerful, which is the sight bug. It was shown when Kikucho visualized a monster when Mikey's darkness tentacles were forming around him. The same exact monster can be seen from Straff when he confronts 7 during their encounter. There are other bug users as well. South also has a visual bug, Shinichiro has a hearing bug which led him to attacking the homeless man, and Kazuotori has a thought bug which activated after he killed Shinichiro and started having impulsive thoughts about blaming everything on Mikey, resulting in the tentacles forming. The dark impulse is also an awakening of power derived from suppressed emotions. Other characters like Takemichi's resolution, and angry Kawada crying use this as well. Ken Wakui called his an awakening in chapter 168, so this is further confirmation. When the dark impulse is active, user speed, strength, durability and stamina increase. In unique cases, characters like Angry's battle IQ grow, giving him the perfect counter to judo throws. Tyranno South was being overwhelmed by the strongest duo, but once he got excited he immediately blitzed them after his strength increased, stating his dark urges make him stronger and stronger. Mikey in the final arc faced Takemichi, whose time leaping evolved into foresight, helping him see Mikey's kicks a second before he attacks. Mikey figured out Takemichi's foresight ability after a few kicks, which made Takemichi complement his battle IQ. Mikey increased his speed until the point the vision no longer worked. He has exceptional all-around speed, being listed as the fastest runner in Toman, meaning he is faster than Drayton, who outpaced a Tokarev pistol that was already shot, when he saved Takemichi from an attempted murder by South's underlings. He also blitzed several hundreds of delinquents in an instant in chapter 262 when his dark impulse activated, which should be around hypersonic travel speed. He can react to characters with similar speed to his own, which should make his reaction speed similar to his travel speed. His combat speed should be slower than his travel speed but varies due to his dark impulse. When he didn't take Hanma seriously, he had his roundhouse blocked, but when his dark impulse was active, he knocked Hanma out easily. Ken Wakui mentioned on Hanma's character profile this is because Mikey is inhuman. Most of Mikey fights end before they start due to opponents not seeing Mikey's attacks coming. Mikey has a superhuman durability, pain tolerance and endurance, which he has shown several times. He scales far higher than Takemichi, who tanked 2 different car explosions at point-blank range moments apart. The explosion scale for cars and trucks are both building level, and Takemichi tanked the full explosion from both, moments apart. The explosions didn't knock out Takemichi or kill him, yet Mikey has repeatedly beaten Takemichi to the point he was in a coma. Many will downplay these feats but won't have any logical reasonings why this feat scales any lower than small building level, possibly building level. Mikey was shot directly in the head by Naoto but stayed conscious with his brain still functioning and was able to thank Takemichi. This may not be a real feat, but it showcases how much Mikey can endure. As mentioned before, he was struck in the head several times with a pipe until it was bent, yet Mikey still used his head soon after to headbutt Chom. He has a habit of punishing himself when someone around him dies by letting people hit him. He has done this many times even against the strongest of characters like Payan, Teiju, Drayton, Izana, Kikucho. He does this as a way to further suppress his emotions so the darkness doesn't take over his thoughts, as shown when he killed Kazuotora in the past. Izana is another example Mikey holding back to suppress his emotions. Izana was a main reason him and Mikey's little sister Emma was killed by Kisaki because he wanted Mikey to feel the same emptiness he had. Izana prepped for years since the formation of Tokyo Manji Gang trying to take Mikey down, yet Mikey defeated him without activating his dark impulse. He let Izana hit him until his own body wore down and couldn't maintain the same physicality, proving Mikey's stamina and endurance is far superior. The first kick Mikey landed knocked Izana unconscious and has him temporarily staggering even though he got up fast to mask the pain. None of the hits Izana landed knocked Mikey out or did any real damage. When Mikey finally engaged in the fight, Izana was easily defeated. Mikey held back because he wanted to save Izana since he considers him a sibling still, and he still won the fight without going all out. Yes, Mikey was holding back even though Drayton mentioned Mikey was using all his strength. This is false. Mikey was not using Dark Impulse and Drayton didn't even know what his Dark Impulse was, as he mentioned in chapter 217 in a conversation with Takemichi. Even though Izana could read his moves, he was still physically inferior to Mikey, which ultimately showed as the fight went on, and Mikey knew this. You can see moments of Mikey not holding back throughout the fight, like when Mikey walked through an Izana punch without blinking to ask him why he killed Emma. Mikey has knowledge of the body and all of its weak points and usually attacks those areas. It should be noted Mikey utilizes kicks more so in base form and will strike pressure points. In Dark Impulse you will see a lot more punches. He is far more durable than other inverse characters with notable feats including Tatsuhiko Shiratori, and Masaki Taki from Shinjuku Swan who fell off large platform during a fight, Seki who had a cinder block broken overhead without reaction, Morinaga who was run over by Seki's car without injury, and Ichigo Washio who tanked plowing a boom lift into a luxury hotel room. Mid-tier characters like Sanzu have impressive feats. He was hit by Teiju's full-speed motorcycle and sent him flying into a train and was okay, but was instantly knocked out when Mikey kicked him. Sanzu also tanked being thrown out of a speeding train and crashing one that killed every Toman member in a vision Takemichi had. Mikey's physical strength is his most underrated attribute. Benkei mentioned Mikey has comparable strength to South, who threw Inupi several meters after carrying him in his hand while driving a motorcycle, making him one of the physically strongest in the verse. He used his own leg as a brake to stop his own CB250T while wearing sandals, lifted Chanbo with just his leg alone, and comparable to Teiju Shiba threw multiple entire church pews with one arm, and other characters who can lift and throw entire humans. Mikey uses his physical strength to apply his disarticulation. Shown how he easily broke Takemichi's arm and twisted South's arm in a circle, leaving it dangling. Disarticulation or luxation is known as Mikey's special skill on his character profile. Weaker characters like Mucho has feats of judo slamming multiple people at once, Baji lifting huge heavy cabinets, Payan using delinquents as his weapon by swinging them into other delinquents, and Seki using the Argentina backbreaker. Mikey has the following abilities listed that make him nearly impossible to beat in a hand-to-hand fight. Most of his hacks come from his Dark Impulse, besides abilities like Paralysis Inducement, which comes from Mikey's pressure points attacks. He paralyzed South after their exchange, leaving him wondering why he can't move his body even though he wanted to continue fighting. My final overall scale for Mikey is small building, possibly higher with hypersonic travel and reaction speed with supersonic plus combat attack speed, higher with Dark Impulse. His lifting strength is class 5. I made a list of characters I see Mikey winning a fight against, and characters I can see him losing a fight to. The most controversial is obviously Ayanokouji, but the fight isn't even close. There is much confusion on the actual canon capabilities of Ayanokouji versus someone like Mikey due to misinformation from non-readers being spread across the internet. I made a video for Ayanokouji's true strength. I will tag it in the description. If the video is blocked in your country, you possibly have to use a VPN to watch. But Mikey outclasses Ayanokouji in every physical category, scaling to a higher tier while also being faster and having several more hacks than Ayanokouji does. This is not a knock against Ayanokouji as he is one of my favorite characters, but it is not fair to compare him to unrealistic characters with supernatural abilities because that is not what the artist intended when he first created Kiyotaka Ayanokouji. The light novel is not a fight-based novel and is more analytical-based, which is why he is often compared to characters like Yuichi Katajiri, Light Yagami, Lelouch Lamperouge, Johann Liebert and others of similar backgrounds. If you haven't started reading the Tokyo Revengers manga, I hope this video influences you to start the series because it is a masterpiece work of art. Let me know who you want me to break down and scale next in the comments below.